Hey guys, today I got something really important I want to share with you. It's a little embarrassing. I've been on YouTube for years, been coaching, been playing my whole life, and I've got a problem with my tennis racket. It's embarrassingly bad. This is actually a tennis racket that I still play with. Now, there's nothing wrong with the racket itself. It's just completely outdated. You can see it's cracked. And it's time I take myself and my game more seriously. So I'm going to go on a demo program with the biggest and the best tennis retailer online, Tennis Express. They're part of our TennisCon event, which I'm so proud to have them on. And next week, I've got an appointment with Sam from Tennis Express, who's going to show me the ropes, pick out the perfect racket for me, and you're going to come along on the journey. So if you're ready, let's get started.
All right, so Sam, I need your help, man. I'm a man without a racket. I teach a lot of tennis on the court, online, and now I'm starting to play more. And I'm embarrassed to say that this is actually one of the rackets that I still hit with from time to time. You can see the strings are broken, and the racket is actually broken. I don't know if you can look at that.
That's a manufacturer defect right there. Certainly.
The old Bryan Brothers racket.
Ah, there you go.
I hit with a racket that I got off eBay, which I think is like a Djokovic knockoff or next level down. And it's time to get a real racket. So I thought I'd go to the biggest and the best, which is Tennis Express, to get some help and guidance on how to do this.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm very excited that you chose us, and I'm excited to help you out. So when will you be unleashing your talents on the Pro Tour? Are you gearing in for a big debut, or?
Well, now that it seems like Roger and Rafa and Novak are struggling to get healthy, I figure now's the time to make my move.
There's a vacuum. There's a vacuum at the top.
Yeah, so I figure I'd make my move now.
Tell me a little bit about your playing style, and then you kind of just gave me a little bit of your kind of recent racket history. Kind of the things I'm looking for are, if you had to say when you swing at the ball, like, is it a pretty angry, very fast, up-tempo swing, or is it more kind of kind of medium or slower but methodical? The idea being if your skill level is high, you might prefer a racket that's really, really heavy. But if your strokes are smooth, that's going to do the job for you, right? Because you're not going to be trying to really whip it around that fast. It's just about preparation and smooth striking of the ball. Now, if you're more of like a spin doctor, or somebody kind of fancies themselves a little bit more of a vertical, attack, like the Nadal forehand with tons and tons of rotation on the ball on your shots, you might want something that's a little bit whippier, a little bit more lightweight. So kind of where would you fall in that class of stroke styles?
That's very interesting, and it's something I've been wrestling with a bunch. So when I played, competitively, juniors, college, I played with just a kind of a weak Eastern and was very kind of McEnroe-like as far as the way I modeled my game. I mean, I'm not
okay.
To McEnroe, where I love to come to the net first and lots of times second serve. I love to come in behind second serves of my opponents. Lots of feel, touch kind of player. Like to kind of almost how he'd be like a trampoline, the way he'd hit his shots. I mean, my strokes almost look like him. But since I've been teaching, the game has changed. I actually have changed to a semi-Western grip. I like to hit big spinny balls. So like you said, kind of a spin doctor. I'd say in general, though, my serve, the things I think I do the best, whether I'm hitting the ball flatter or whether I am playing more, I guess, modern like today, is I definitely think I use spins and variety a lot more than power, if that helps you.
Right. So I think you're right on something, Pete, that with today's tennis, I can just give you a frame of reference. I was 16 years old or 15 years old not really a strong kid, and I was swinging a Wilson Pro Staff 6-1 that was over 12 ounces strung, very, very heavy. But back in the day, I'm more Eastern forehand. It's more about just getting the weight of the racket through the back of the ball. You're not really having to sideline to sideline 15 or 16 times as much back then. Like you said, it's kind of get the first ball you can get a good look at and try to get in and put some pressure on your opponent. I think I've seen that too, where as I got into teaching and now I'm playing a little bit more again too, is I've sort of seen that kind of squish from really heavy and stable and really lightweight and whippy. So I think it's more kind of like somewhere in between that, because you have probably an older school sensibility where you're going to appreciate the stability that weight can provide, but you also aren't crazy. You know that whether you're teaching 5 or 6 hours straight or you're filling in for the fourth as a doubles player, you need a racket that can be maneuverable and upwards of 4 or 5 hours. You don't really need something that you're going to be able to serve well for 10 minutes, but then need to go ice your shoulder. So
I don't want that. Yeah, I definitely want something easy on the arm. Every now and then, sometimes I'll get a twinge in my elbow here. So right now everything feels good. So I want to keep it that way.
okay, well, the last question I was going to ask you, kind of expand a little bit more about your elbow. Like, is that something that's been more of since you've been teaching and like feeding more balls that's cropped up, or if you maybe play 3 days a week, 1 week, all of a sudden you're like, oh man, my body's telling me I haven't been playing tons of tennis, and then I just played a lot of tennis and my elbow's barking at me.
Yeah, I think it's more that. Now I play more for myself, which is really great, that I have in a long time. So if I play 2 or 3 times a week, and if I play some matches and have a lot of serving going on, sometimes I can feel this in
Okay.
here.
Yeah. Yeah, we call that the elbow here in the advanced
Yeah, the elbow.
the advanced medicine practice of Sam. I call that the elbow. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you about like just a couple of metrics for tennis rackets that I think are really important, and sometimes we're not paying as much attention to. The first metric is flex. And it's done with a Babolat, like a RDC, racket diagnostics machine, and it basically is measuring, how crisp or kind of how soft the racket feels at contact. So just to give you an idea, like, stiff is kind of an awful word to use, but I try to think of it in terms of flexible and firm. Okay, so rackets that have more of a firm, I would say kind of a modern flex would be like the most obvious one's going to be a pure drive. The Nadal racket, the Aero Pro, or sorry, not the Aero Pro, the Pure Aero. Those rackets are going to have a firmer flex. And, while that can get a bad rap sometimes as far as comfort, it's very addictive in terms of the racket doesn't really deform much when the ball hits the strings. So it's kind of, you hear people use the term like point and shoot control, and you get a lot of power out of the string bed most of the time with like a lighter weight, just for reference, like a pure drive, is 10.6 ounces. So when you string that up, it's a little over 11 ounces, but for the weight, it's an incredibly powerful racket. And a lot of it is due to how crisp that string bed and how crisp that frame feels. What a lot of folks have done that kind of prefer that firmer feedback is they string it with a more of a comfortable string, like a softer multi-filament, or if you are a polyester guy, you could take that pure drive and just string it with that maybe firmer polyester string, but just drop the tension a little bit. One of the things that's been nice, Pete, kind of, and in my opinion, the biggest change in all of the racket brands is that now they seemingly have found the secret science of making a racket that's got a little bit of a thicker beam. which will give you more stability, but they haven't taken all of the comfort out of it. Now it seems like we're getting more frames that have a little bit of a thicker cross section, but they've built some comfort technology in there to kind of protect your arm and to help keep you, playing lots of tennis. And that's kind of what we all want, as everybody to continue playing. So do you have kind of a brand preference? Like, are you sort of just a free agent? You just kind of want to see what's out there? At Tennis Express, we've got Wilson Head, Babolat, Yonex, Technofiber, Vocal, pretty much anything under the sun. I can even go and chop off some wood off of a tree and start to build you your own wood racket, but you don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, I really am kind of a free agent, which is nice. You mentioned the Babolat, the Dow racket. I've always wanted to try that. I'm not sure if it would fit my game or not. Like I said, I kind of play like that sometimes, where I like to hit heavy spin. But then I guess since I teach a lot of tennis, I'm comfortable holding the racket in all kinds of grips, from almost continental to pretty aggressive semi-Western. And depending on the week, sometimes I think I should play one way versus another way. So I would like to try that kind of like that extreme and pretend that I'm a Roth out there and have some fun with that. And then I'd like to also have maybe a softer racket where I feel more touch and feel the volley and kind of really find the best of both worlds maybe eventually with it.
So I think one of the things that's so tough about demoing a racket is like you just kind of said, now's the time to try it, right? Like, you don't know, maybe you love Nadal's racket. Like, maybe you do, but if you don't ever just give yourself 35, 40 minutes with it, like in your hand, and just kind of get a feel for it, you'll never know. And so the demo program at Tennis Express, what it allows you to do is select 3 rackets at a time. And I'm kind of with you. I would throw one up there on that end of the spectrum, like more of the kind of firmer feel that Babolat's known for, that crisp, powerful strike of the ball that brand is really built on. And then I might try something more kind of in the middle. Maybe it's not too firm, not too soft, not too heavy, not too light. And then I might try like a more flexible, sort of older school, kind of a softer frame, thinner beam, more McEnroe-esque, if you will, something that's more about touch and feel. And then I think that's like our starting point, right? Where you go, gosh, I used to really like this soft racket, but today, like it's not really doing it for me. So I think that's just important that we use this initial, opportunity for you to test kind of 3 pretty radically different frames, and then kind of come back and revisit it. And who knows, you might find the one that you love right then. But again, the nice thing about the demo program is you haven't signed on the dotted line that you've got to buy any one of these rackets. You can send them back. We can ship you out 3 more. The process can kind of go on for as long as you want to. The one thing I'll say is I don't want you to be afraid of that, first feel where, what, I don't like the way this feels. Then put it back in the box. I think sometimes, folks are like, oh, well, I need, it's good for Nadal, so I need to keep giving it a go. And that's the thing about rackets right now, is it's become so personal. If you're not vibing with it, then it's not for you. So that's kind of the only advice I would give you. But I think this is a good start. I think, I didn't talk too much about head sizes and stuff, but you got to know by now, everything's about 97 square inches to 105. You got a few extraneous models that are going to be, oversized models, but for the most part, you're looking at that mid-plus, 97 to 100. Do you have any druthers as far as that's concerned, or are you kind of, that's all open?
97 to 100. The only thing I will say, one of the shames was about this Prince racket, which I did love. I liked that it had a wider string bed, and I liked the spins I could put on it with my slicers, my slice backhand, a big topspin forehand. And, it was just, I think it was this right here, the way this is built, to where I could not hit more than 2 times literally without breaking the string. So,
Right.
Maybe a string bed that has a little wider area between each string,
Right.
grip the ball more. I think I enjoyed that. So, but won't make the strings break every 2 seconds. Does
Right.
anything come to mind when I say that, or what do you think about that?
Well, the racket that you have there is a kind of an effort that a lot of the brands made where they reduced the count of strings. I think that one might be a 16 by 16 pattern. Most of what you're going to see with the modern frames is going to be 16 by 19, 16 verticals and 19 cross strings. The two most prevalent ones now for sure are 1619 versus 1820. And you can use either one, but the idea being the more strings, the less the strings are going to move around at contact or just after contact. So an 18 by 20 string pattern, if you play tons and tons of spin, your strings will last longer, if that makes sense. A 16 by 19 string pattern, maybe in the same racket, but just different string pattern, you're going to get a little bit more height than spin, but you're going to cut through those strings, a little bit more often. I think where I'd like to start you, I've got a couple here. I kind of want to just show you real quick if I can. This is a new model that's going to be released at the U.S. Open this year from Yonex. It's the V-Core Pro. And so, the likes of, I know you follow the pro game a little bit. So like this is kind of the racket endorsed by Stan Wawrinka, Francis Tiafoe.
Does it come with Stan's backhand?
Gosh, I wish. If they did, then we'd be out of them already, I think. But yeah, he can hit it a ton for sure. But so this is going to be, more of a thinner beam, 21 millimeter. It's a really nice frame. You're going to get out of it what you're capable of putting into it. That's what I'll say about this. If you can produce pretty explosive racket head speed pretty consistently and your mechanics are sound, this is going to be a really solid choice. As far as comfort, flex, old school sensibility, this is going to be a really good option. Let's call it a McEnroe stick, right? Like this is kind of a good, attack, get to the net. It's got a dense string pattern, so I definitely would advise, lower the tension on it to give you a little bit more of that slingshot. But so that's kind of the flexible end of the spectrum that I might start you with is the V-Core Pro from Yonex.
Okay.
I talked about it a little bit briefly, but. So like the Pure Drive, they kind of did this cool mirror cosmetic this year where it says, drive on both sides. But this is going to be powerful, lightweight, modern, crisp feel. Babolat's done a pretty good job making these rackets a little bit more comfortable. They've added some stuff to the layup of the graphite to try to be a little bit more shock absorbing and reduce the vibrations. And so this is kind of what I would say would be the opposite of the spectrum. But I still think a really important thing to kind of get you ultimately where you want to go to find what you're looking for. I've got my racket of choice. Well, actually, we've got this one. We just got him at Tennis Express. I look like I'm in jail. We just got him at Tennis Express, and it's the Clash. Kind of took the tennis market by storm. See if I can get it to face the right way. I can't. Oh, there we go. So the Clash is the very unique frame construction of it's very flexible, so it's comfortable, but it also is as stable as any racket on the market. It sounds like that can't happen, but it's a very unique feel for a racket. It's not really old school. It's not really new. It's really just brand new. And so I think people are still kind of trying to adapt and get used to it, but we've sold boatloads of them. And the thing that's nice about this one, it has that open 18 by 16 string pattern. So it's kind of the similar concept to the Prince that you had. it's going to be, more main strings, but the more space between those cross strings, like only the 16 cross strings, that means a lot of spin. What I would recommend for you there is maybe a thicker gauge string, so that you're not, creating big spin for 30 minutes and then busting the strings. Nobody likes stringing that much. And then I wanted to include this just as a shameless plug. This is the Head Gravity Tour.
That actually looks really cool.
Yeah, so they've got this cool kind of two-tone flip cosmetic, kind of that yellow to green on one side and the blue to purple on the other. This is sort of what I would call as like something in the middle of the Pure Drive here and the Yonex. The beam's 22 millimeters, so it's a little bit thicker. It still has that denser string pattern, 18 by 20, but it's a good medium, comfortable flex, very, very arm friendly. 100 square inch head. They designed the head on these gravity rackets, if you can kind of see, to be a little wider just above like the center of the racket. And they've done some studies that show that more and more in the modern game we're hitting the ball up higher in the hoop of the frame, whereas back in the day it was more, sweet spot was lower, kind of down in this area. Now for me that just means I'm not getting close enough to the ball, so it's just bad footwork. But so that's kind of the concept there. So that's kind of where I would lead you maybe for your first 3 or 4. Did you have a how did you feel about what you saw? Were any of them just so god awful ugly that you don't want to see them ever again, or?
No, I like the picks, and the last one looked the coolest. So I'm hoping I really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. I'm excited.
Very cool.
One thing, yeah, let's do it. One thing is maybe I could share my screen and I could order the demos online right now, and you can kind of walk me through how you do it on your website. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, let's do it. My guys can see, here's my buddy B2. He's been hanging out with us the whole time.
Unpaid intern.
What a good dog. All right, so I'm going to share the screen here. Share screen. So obviously edit this kind of lag time out. There we go. All right. So tennis. Grass. Very, very excited.
Hey, demoing rackets is fun. Like, I feel like sometimes people get a little intimidated, but I always use the analogy, wouldn't it be nice if you could try an iPhone for a month before you could buy it? And you don't get to do that.
I mean, people ask me a lot, what racket do you recommend? And I'm like, well, in today's world, this is one of the few things you can actually do to where you get to try it before you buy it. And I mean, I don't really have a recommendation as far. I think you should go on a demo program, is what I tell everybody.
Right.
So I'm excited to do this.
So head to that rackets, and it'll kind of drop down, and then there's a demo rackets just below it there, and then click that demo rackets.
Okay. All right.
And so here you go. You've got. Let's see what we got here. You can find that Babolat one first if you want.
So click on Babolat.
Yeah.
Okay. And looks like you get $25 off after demoing the rackets. That's pretty cool.
What a deal.
Now, what should I click on?
So the one thing I was going to tell you is I showed you the Pure Drive. I didn't have a Pure Aero model in front of me, but I would just kind of say, if I were you and you were curious about the Pure Aero, I would click which grip size are you, Pete? Are you kind of 4 3/8? So yeah, I would select that Pure Aero 4 3/8 and just kind of go from there, and then add it to the cart.
Okay, add to the cart. Excellent. work. I think I clicked it.
There we go.
Awesome.
All right, and then so you'll go basically continue shopping. Yeah, right back to demos, and then go to when we go to head.
Yeah, that head, the gravity, right? We're gonna try that.
You bet.
Okay.
So the one thing I'll hedge on a little bit is the gravity comes in a couple of configurations. And what I was going to ask you is basically there's the tour that has the denser string pattern, and then there's one that has kind of a unique, in this day and age, a 16 by 20 pattern. And that's the MP. So that might be a good option.
I like that. Is that
Yeah.
this?
Is it the MP? Yeah, I think that's the one. Yeah, I would try that one just because I feel like that would be a good kind of cross section of what you're looking for.
That gets me totally pumped. All right, so the graphene 360. This is that gravity that you were showing me, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna make it bigger here so I can see it a little better. There we go. Well, you've selected the extreme, and so that's also a good frame. But I am on a gravity kick right now. So I would scroll all the way down.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, and then so the MP is the one I would do.
Okay, the 2021 Gravity MP demo this racket. Okay, I'm totally pumped up right now. All right. Did I hit it right? I got a feeling I hit it wrong.
I think you got it.
Oh, no, you
Okay,
undid
yes,
it.
I did get it. Okay, so click to add to cart.
Man, I love seeing that in stock next to it. It makes me so happy.
I know. Things are crazy with everything going on. So let's do one more. Let's do the Clash.
Okay, good deal. So yeah, rackets, same deal. Demo rackets, Wilson.
Or should we do 4? Should we do the V core too? Or you think 3 is good to try at a time?
Well, Pete, I kind of messed up. That V-Core is not available for demo yet.
Okay, all right. Well, let's do the Clash then. I'm excited for the
Good choice.
So the Clash 100 demo this racket, is that what I want?
So what I'm looking for is the Clash 100S. I think if you keep going down, there it is at the very bottom.
See this?
Oh, we got that dreaded due back in stock.
Okay.
Boo.
What's the second best?
So why don't we just go with the OG? Let's just go with the original Clash 100. So at the very top there, yeah.
Very top. Okay.
And that's been the most popular version. The technology is the same. What they've done is they've kind of just done it in some different head sizes and weights.
Okay, cool. All right. So this is it. Now I assume when I check out here, which I'm going to check out, I'm not going to check out right now because it's being recorded, so I don't want people to see my payment thing. But
Yeah, make sure you can just tell me your credit card number right now, and then we can.
yeah, I think we'll keep that. But you can.
Good idea.
All this that I'm getting to try is this $24.95. So this is awesome.
That's right, and the rackets will ship with a return label. So, you use them for a couple of weeks, you drop them back in the box, seal it, and then it'll you can take it to a UPS store or schedule a pickup, and they'll pick it up for you.
Very cool. Very
yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to finish this when we're finished.
Okay.
I want to thank you so much for your time today. And what we'll do is I'll order this. It'll come on in. And then what I'm going to do is I'll show everybody the unboxing. We'll go out to the court and we'll hit. And you guys at home who are watching can kind of tell me what you thought you liked, what you thought looked good for me in my game and my style. I really am. I want a lot of people to help me with this decision because I am kind of like trying to figure out my game going forward. Like there's certain people I play against where I'm like, when I come to the net, I realize that's better than staying back and rallying. And then there's other people I feel like I need to stay back and rally with. And so I'm just trying to figure out, the best racket to be able to kind of do everything with, and what you guys think I should play with. So, Sam, this
Well,
is awesome, man. This is
Well, we're excited. Like you're using us for the process. Like it really is pretty painless. It's ultimately completely the ball is in your court. You like it, you buy it. If you don't, you just send it back. It's pretty easy.
awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, if you learned something, definitely let me know what your favorite rackets are. Go to tennisexpress.com. You see how painless and easy it is. Maybe you can start demoing rackets with me if you're in the market for a new racket, and you can comment in the comment below section here, and you can let me know what racket you're using, what you like, and why. Okay, so I think that would be cool. So everybody, if you're in the market for a racket, let's all do this together. Let's go to Tennis Express together and try some rackets out, and this will be a lot of fun.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, guys, take care.
Have a good one.